I'm going into work. It's Monday. There is a ton of news we're going to cover. The censorship has been accelerated. There's so many attempts to censor us and block us. I've just got to work even harder to make sure we punch through that electronic Berlin Wall.
Figured today would be a good day to sport this. Hello, my fellow countrymen. Today I would like to review an excellent documentary called You Can't Watch This. It's a film following 5 prominent conservative speakers who have been essentially banned from the public square. Now, before I delve into this, I want to issue a complaint that I have with this film that really has nothing to do with the documentary itself. You have to pay to see it. For a film that's focusing on such an important issue as censorship and access to information, I thought it was a little off-putting that they wouldn't make it accessible to as many people as possible. I understand that there was clearly a lot of work put into this. As a filmmaker, I really appreciated the camera work and the editing. It was well put together. I'm sure it took a lot of effort. And I get it. People need to make a living. But that was still disappointing. Now then, I loved this documentary.
I finally realized, don't try to intern at local radio. Don't try to, go get a job at a local newspaper. Go to Access Television and go on air yourself.
Oh, God, would you think I was awful if I said I didn't like him as a president?
I don't like him as a president.
It follows Alex Jones, who hosts InfoWars, Gavin McInnes, who has his show Get Off My Lawn, Laura Loomer, Tommy Robinson, and Paul Joseph Watson. I don't know a whole lot about Laura Loomer, but I am pretty familiar with the rest of these people. I do know, though, that much like Ben Shapiro, she is often called a Nazi, despite the fact that she's Jewish. I don't think I need to explain why that's stupid. So, what links all these people together? Well, they've all essentially been banned. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all 3, or other things. Basically, all of this extreme censorship started with Alex Jones back in August of last year. He was banned from literally anything you can think of. Spotify, iTunes, PayPal, even his bank. How is it even legal to be banned from a bank for something you said?
If it gets to the point where you can't have a bank account and you can't get a job because you've been deplatformed and your employer sees that as a red flag, that's where it goes way beyond politics. You can't just build your own social media company. You can't just start your own bank.
Now, am I justifying what Alex Jones said about Sandy Hook? Of course not. But he said that over 5 years ago. Why is he being banned now? He doesn't even believe it anymore. This was clearly a coordinated attack between all these different various social media networks, and they just picked him in particular because they knew everyone would be okay with it. But it won't stop with him. It's already progressed beyond that.
But conservatives are much more concerned. The Twitter might be silencing right-wing tweets with something they call shadow banning.
They're private companies with private terms of service.
These private companies.
No private company is legally forced to protect.
Now here's the deal. Twitter is a private company. They're not obligated to publish your every thought.
A lot of people say, you're on Facebook, you didn't pay any money, Facebook kicked you off. It's not your right. And that's definitely true, but the climate has changed. It's like saying, hey, I made it illegal for you to have a computer, but you could still use a typewriter.
I don't think anyone could argue honestly that you don't need these social media companies in order to be heard. That's where everyone is. That's how we communicate with each other today. That's how we get our news. There's no equal alternative to these websites. They've completely monopolized. And I find it very interesting that a lot of left-wing people who are generally very against corrupt corporations having too much power are okay with this handful of corporations having this much control over information. They literally have the power to influence elections, and they're censoring people. That is dangerous. And when these people get banned, they have no means of defending themselves anymore when they're misrepresented or just straight up lied about. They show a clip in this documentary from Joe Rogan where his guest is saying what a terrible guy Gavin McInnes is. And then just immediately after that says he doesn't actually know anything about him.
Proud Boys guy?
They took him off of everything.
Yeah, he's off of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that. And with him, it's even...
But he's like a hate speech guy, isn't he? He's like fucking inciting violence and whatever.
He's now what you said. See, you don't know him, but you said he's the hate speech guy. You said he's that guy. That's how everybody's going to see him.
The media is attempting to warp and control everyone's perception. This is seriously affecting people's lives and safety. Laura almost killed herself. Gavin's property is constantly vandalized.
2 neighbors put up these signs that the leader of a hate group lives in our town. Oh no. So they put up the signs on my lawn that said hate has no home here, instead of talking to me, of course. It just keeps getting worse. I mean, they vandalized my car. I'm also getting doxxed by Antifa and getting death threats, and I'm going to the FBI and they're saying this one is believable.
And he and Tommy both have to hire security guards to protect their families. And Tommy has definitely faced the worst of all of this, because not only is he being regularly assaulted, and not only are these companies censoring him, even their government has sent him to prison multiple times. You think this stuff is bad here, it's even worse in Europe. The problem with all of this is that these companies want to be treated like platforms, but behave like publishers. They don't want to be held accountable for anything that's posted that they don't take down, but yet they still want to be free to remove anything they want. They're not obligated to any consistency with these policies. There's all sorts of violent shit from Antifa being posted all over the internet, but no one fucks with them. But Alex Jones, who's never called for violence against anyone, gets banned from everything. And the worst part about it all is that these companies are well within their legal right. They're private companies. But aren't they more than that now? Now that they're so essential to how we communicate with each other? I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed to make a profit, but they shouldn't be allowed to operate with no restrictions. Especially since they've gotten so buddy-buddy with the government, feeding our information to surveillance agencies. So I guess in closing, regardless of how you feel about these people, you should watch this documentary. And you should stand up against censorship no matter who it is. This shouldn't be a partisan issue, because it's wrong, and it doesn't stop with them.
If you have a corrupt media, you don't have a democracy. If you have a media controlled with fake news, there is no democracy. There will be alternatives that will grow, but I think it's a very dangerous line they're going down. Because when people see no other platform for their voice, I used to say it with demonstrations, demonstration was like a pressure valve. People are building up, they're angry, they're frustrated, and then they see someone speaking their language and giving them a platform. You take that away, what other choice do you leave people?